but maybe 2.
Mum, I've made this before.
Okay, big enough?
We are putting all of
So I think you need this.
I think I need the big one, yeah.
Alltså ifall Mariette, dan is de bomma blij dat hij Mariette gebruikt wordt.
6 doekleeks. Well, 6 doekleeks.
Ja, moet er nou jou nog in?
2. I can do it, it's fine. And I can open this wine, yes?
Ja, en pappardelle. Er is nog wel dingen. Maar blijf, ja, die mag erin.
Sweaty.
Ja, zeg je mij. I've been boiling my socks off.
My mother has been boiling her socks off, everybody. Hello, welcome to another episode of Casual Cooking. Will this be the first one of 2021 or the last one of 2020? Who knows? Do you like my fit, by the way? I think it's cool. Mum bought me these leggings, right, these joggers.
A long time ago.
And I hated them so much when you bought them for me. I was like, I'm never going to wear it, it's awful. It's flared. And now I'm like, it's amazing, and I was amazing, so.
Bought them in a very posh shop which is called Balmeli Spur.
I'm sure that means something to some of you.
Outlet, and it comes from the outlet.
And
it was still expensive.
Is that TikTok? I can't do the I mean, like, the only thing I want to learn for, like, all of next year, basically, is, like, fucking TikTok white girl twerk, and I can't.
Have I got the mask?
Mask phone. The only thing I want to learn for that, and I can't do it. I'm just, or maybe I can. I can do it like this, but I can't. When people, like, get down and do it, I don't know how to do that. Anyway, right at the beginning of the video, classic Emma, incredible. My employment history is going to look fantastic. Right, so today we are making, it's my dad's birthday, the camera. It's been 8 years! So, it's my dad's birthday. I've been entrusted to make dinner on my dad's birthday. I'm very flattered, slightly scared, but all right. I made this a little while ago and it went down really, really well. It is Venetian duck ragù. That's right, bitches. It sounds fancy as fuck. It's actually shockingly easy. Like, it was so easy that I was worried I did it wrong. If you want something that basically it takes, what, like 20 minutes to make, then you stick it in the oven or on the hob for a while, this is for you, and it makes you sound fancy as fuck. Oh, what's for dinner? Venetian duck ragù. Fancy. My mother has defrosted the duck legs. What do we have? We have duck and we have wine. Do I need to put anything else in? Yeah, this is a look. It's a leak. I'm really enjoying it. Oops, baby. This is the BBC Good Foods recipe. It's up here if you want to screenshot it, or I will stick it down in the description as per. If you're new to these episodes, hello, welcome to Emma's Casual Cooking. You are not going to learn anything here. You can see me try a recipe and then try it yourself, but I'm not going to teach you because I'm not qualified to do that. Oops, baby. Didn't know that was your bitch, baby. I have watched way too much TikTok, but it's the holidays, so whatever. Olive oil, duck legs, onions, garlic, red wine, plain flour, cinnamon, chopped tomatoes, and then if I have bay leaves, probably have rosemary somewhere, milk, and then like parmesan and stuff. I'm using 6 duck legs. The recipe calls for 4, so I'm increasing everything by 50%. We're a family of 5. My brothers are annoying and Jim Rowe. You have those kind of siblings, you will know the biggest complaint in this family is there is not enough food. And also we're using this enormous pot. Oh god, it's massive. Okay. The fuck am I Okay, 1, 2, and like a bit full up because we're doing more. So flour always like thickens the sauce. That's why you add flour to things. It says to put in the same amount of like cinnamon as flour, and I'm gonna go ahead and not do that. That is just it's a bit too much for me. That's enough. That'll do the trick. I like these, but they're very impractical. They're from Anthropology. My mother likes them. Ooh, interesting. Cinnamon is super fucking strong. So I need some liquid on the go in here, otherwise it's just all gonna burn and go horribly, horribly wrong. Oh god, I have the hiccups now. a little bit embarrassing, I can't lie to you. This pot is huge, absolutely glorious. Oh, you know, all I want, and I know it's a very middle class, middle-aged dream, I would just, like, love a future of coordinated Le Creuset pots. Like, I'm simple, really. That's all it takes to make me happy. Just coordinated earthenware pots. Well, I was gonna say hand-me-down, but like, you can say hand-me-down or you can say family heirloom. It's really exactly the same thing. Herbs, sugar, seasoning. Mother, we don't have any rosemary. This is completely unacceptable behaviour. What the frick? Right, are we ready to watch me struggle with wine? Lighting, Emma. You know when I'm doing a filmmaking degree, you'd never guess. I'm from the production quality of this shit show. My parents have about 15 million different wine. How difficult can it, you know what, we're not gonna find out. God, this is fucking bougie, isn't it? Do you know what this is? It's just so unnecessarily bougie. Just like, explain to me why you think that is necessary. You just need to get off. Mum, why would you have something like this? To be fair, this is a gift that you buy people who are into wine. Am I outing how middle class my family is? Ooh. Right, well, last time I did this, I almost fucked it up. Maybe you should concentrate instead of trying to do this on camera. What a concept. What a concept. That was significantly more successful than last time. So this is a village. You guys know that in France where we stay, it's Boulogne, so it's the big river that I film a lot, that is the Rhône. All the villages that are around, you know, the banks of the river. And it's usually a good medium-bodied red with Grenache, xoxo, and Syrah as grapes. I think, anyway. I'm pretty sure that's what we grow. Well, we may grow mainly Grenache, I know that for a fact. A sumptuous... Here we go. A sumptuous, well-structured red wine made with the region's classic Grenache and Syrah grapes. See, I do know things. Appellation Côte-Rhône, village contrôlé. How much is going in there? What time is it? Can I drink this? Oh, it's like 3 o'clock. Some for me, some for the food. Delicious. And now I have to pour this in there and pretend I didn't. This is just for me. I can't. Oh no, I can't pour this in the wine because it's not Cornichon. That is good. That is good. It's basic, but it is good. That's like my brand, right? You know when you're a kid and you're making a potion? Yeah, that is what this feels like. That is what this feels like. Last time I made this I used Chianti, which is a Tuscan wine. So I feel like any Italian wines should go well with this. This is a French wine, but you know what? It's what we have and it will do. I'm procrastinating because I have to do the duck now and I don't want to do the duck now, it's complicated.
What are you doing?
Drinking.
What are you making?
I'm making Venetian duck ragù. I hate when the focus is like floating around over here, and that's always slightly scary. My mum's not over here. She started her own cook collection. Oh God, help me. You know what? I am nothing if not queen of the precarious camera angle. Alright, what are we doing? In the duck. Oh god, help, help, help. I hate doing meat. This is why I cook a lot of veggie stuff. I just don't like doing meat. I just need to brown it on both sides, it's fine. That's mine, I was being baby, that's fine.
Let's do like a restaurant.
Could I employ your services for a second?
Pointed at?
Me! Can you see me?
Yes,
You
everything.
can see me, no way! This bit gives me anxiety. Ah!
Oh, that pot was good.
I know, otherwise we would have been a bit screwed. Yes. Now which oven?
So now you wait until it bubbles.
You mean
Just
you
give
mean
it
simmer?
5 minutes. Yeah, give it 5 minutes, and then when it's really going,
So you mean listen
Lit-
to the
lit
recipe
on.
that
Lit on.
I found but I've already made?
lid on.
Someone's backseat cooking and it's you.
Uh,
Where are
The wets. So take those.
Whoop! Ah! I dropped it.
Snyggt. Ja, bravo. Make sure one of the handles is towards you. Right. All the way to the bottom again. Pushing until it hits.
Mother, if the one thing I have, it's thigh power, alright.
Close the lid. Perfect, thank you.
Ah, Jesus!
Do you think I can even consider it?
Oh, I'd give it a shot, why not? Go on! Give it a good.
Amazing. Did it?
I was just dancing around in the kitchen to what?
Yeah.
If I'm not a disappointment now already, I don't know when I'll ever
I'm
be.
making cake. Disappear.
Later.
It's been, what, 4 hours? 3 hours, 3.5 hours. I now have to lift out the pot, you take out the duck, you shred the duck, then you put the duck back in, you simmer it in a pot, and then you do the pasta. Mother has tagliatelle, even though, what did I ask for?
Pappardelle, but then you have to find pappardelle. We don't have pappardelle in Tesco.
They don't have it in the north, it's true. Where is it? What's in the bottle wrappers? Never mind, I got it. Oh, this gives me such anxiety. Oh, Jesus Christ. I've done it smart ways. Sweet. Go. I'm preheating the water. Wow, it smells so different with the cinnamon in it. It's less than it told me to. That took way too long. I've done it now, and I've had an arm workout, so that's good. All of the duck shredded. All seven duck legs have been shredded, and now it's pasta time. How hungry are we? Okay, we have 2 minutes left to go. That's doing its thing. Someone at my How do I do this? So, you know, I've been talking about TikTok a lot because I find it really entertaining, like, as, you know, content form. I also got a new phone after I smashed my phone screen. My phone is looking beyond repair. Which means I now have a front camera again, which means I can make TikToks again, which means it's really funny getting used to an algorithm like that. Like, I made a, how do I put this, spicy TikTok. It wasn't inappropriate. It wasn't appropriate, but it was more the substance rather than the content, which is the same word. So check out blowjobs, and then like you look at it and you're like, oh, like 20 people have seen it, cool, whatever. Then I go back 20 minutes later and like 8,000 people have seen it, and I'm like, this is a joke. But like, it's really entertaining. And like, I keep looking at all these thirst traps being like, I'll make that, I'll make that, I'll make that. But obviously my Instagram is linked to my TikTok. So I was like earlier being like, why are all of these like random teenage boys following me? I clearly ended up on straight TikTok. So I need to make sure when if I do anything like that, I just need to not end up on straight TikTok. Because then horny teenage boys, and it's not that this isn't a space for horny teenage boys, I'm just assuming that they're not really my target audience. Basically, I was like, I'd quite like a social media on which I could just be hot, because I was really ugly as a child, and like, hey, you get so much intellectual substance, but I'm just like, I just kind of want to be hot. I'm simple, really. I feel like we need all these about where we can just like feel, because like, I don't know, if I ever put anything, I would never put anything like too spicy, if you like, on something like Instagram. Everyone I know follows me on Instagram. I don't want to put that content for people that I know. And like, the thing with like things like YouTube as well is like, I never really necessarily do that here. Like, you can't really do thirst traps on YouTube. And also you're here for my, you know, tell myself you're here for my brain, not my boobs, and also like they're all. So it's just funny to find a social media form that really works so well, but just sort of a thirst trap. It's just fascinating. I'm not going to try and anthropologize it in order for me to feel like justified by it. Also, I don't need to, because that is very much part of the feminist agenda. It's like, I'm hot and I'm going to enjoy that for me. And the outside validation is terrifying, and well, it's not intended, but it's like, oh shit, what have I done? It's very much like a careful what you wish for kind of thing. So yeah, if anyone's wondering why suddenly loads of horny teenage boys seem to be following me, it's because I ended up on straight TikTok, which is not where I belong at all. No thank you. I forget straight TikTok is a thing because I'm very much not on it. Gosh, hello, I'm a few months later speaking. I filmed that back in December and now it's February because it's taken me this long to actually work out what I mean, because I don't know if you noticed, that entire section was very poorly explained and worded, and turns out that was actually more the beginning of a lot of the thinking that I've like cycled into now, which has been very dense and complicated and kind of a crisis. Not really, but kind of a crisis. A D and then reconstruction, shall we call it. Basically, I was just thinking a lot about like validation, and then what it turned into thinking a lot was actually like my relationship with male validation, which turned to a lot of me thinking about the male gaze, which then turned a lot about like why I do certain things that I do. Started having a little bit, not like a full-blown like she-they crisis, but like kind of a little bit, because I've seen this a lot on TikTok, mainly with lesbians. Is like once they realise that they don't want male like attention, validation, whatever at all, they've sort of stepped away from the male gaze in that kind of way, and then they can like almost deconstruct a lot of their like particularly gender expression, because they realise we don't want this male attention, they don't want the male validation, so we don't need to adhere to the male gaze, which means a lot of time not adhering to like really like feminine modes of gender expression. So that's where I kind of surprised myself and found myself, I'm like, ooh, wait. Once you realise you're doing that, it's really hard to unsee it. This is again why being bi is so complicated, and it's really interesting how people start to like evolve, understand like their gender expression when they do start to like understand their sexuality and stuff. It's so interesting how that goes hand in hand, especially with like woman love woman, like a lot of like male validation and attention. If you've ever read like, I think it's called like the Lesbian Master Doc, I'll link it down below. One of the things it brought up is like, are you actually straight, or like are you a lesbian that likes male validation and attention. So I have now had both the canonical bisexual crises, being, am I actually straight and just doing it for attention? And now I've also had, am I actually a lesbian who just likes male validation? So I've had both, so I feel like I'm now fully bisexual, clearly. Get a girl who can do both, whatever that means. These clips that you just had are like really the beginning of me having those like brain patterns and brain thoughts, because I realised, having ended up on straight TikTok with some of the thirst traps I made, like I actually weirdly didn't want that attention. And then just the stints of having like re-downloaded like Hinge and Tinder or something in like a couple of days at each point, sometimes for like downloading it just for male attention, then sometimes downloading it just for female attention, and you're like, what? See, I think it also took me this long to try and explain this to you, because if any of you've noticed on the internet, gender is such like, it's almost like a controversial topic. It's very heated, hence why you're seeing this 15 minutes into a video that is about cooking. Obviously my normal subscribers know what casual cooking is actually about. Kind of having to almost protect myself from like, I don't know, let's just keep this a turf-free space, please. So yeah, that's kind of like where my mind has been at, like how much do I do for like male validation and attention? So I've basically, you're all gonna love this, I've taken like a Descartesian approach to this. If you guys aren't familiar with Descartes, one of his pinnacle works is Discourse on the Method. It's where we get the idea of like, I think, therefore I am. Je pense donc je suis, which basically is the idea of radical doubt. The only thing that you know for absolute sure is that you exist, but like mentally. You don't know if I exist, and I don't know if you exist, because we're not in each other's heads. It's kind of like matrixy, right? That's the one thing that you know. And then from there, a lot of people, I think you use the analogy of like rotten apples. You have your basket of all of your like thoughts and belief systems and whatever, and you take every single one out and you turn it around and you inspect it, and you basically just toss out all the rotten ones. Just taking everything that I know that is me, tipping it out, having a look at every single bit of it, reshuffling it, throwing away the ones that I don't like and keeping the rest that I do. That's like what I've been doing. I've been taking a Descartesian radical doubt approach to very much like my gender expression and like gender roles and stuff. Not gender identity, because that's actually like a separate thing. Oh, for reference, my pronouns are she, her. I don't think I've ever like formally mentioned that anywhere, but that's what they are. Just taking an approach to like how I feel about like myself and different bits of that. A really interesting thing is like, I realised makeup, for example, is something that I've long divorced from like any kind of masculine, feminine binary, because I see makeup, even though like generally we think about it as something really feminine, I see makeup so much as a skill, so much as a skill set, that I haven't for a very long time considered it something like girly. And also because there are so many makeup gurus who are like he, they, that like, yeah, it's just something I've divorced from gender for a super long time. And also I do think that like a gender binary, like one or the other, is just super, just kind of weird if you think about it. Like you can literally categorize everything into those two boxes if you really wanted to. Like if people have decided that a line is masculine and a circle is feminine, like go wild, you can categorize whatever you want. But like, isn't it strange that we do that? It's so odd. Gender, and when I say gender, I mean gender expression and gender roles, are a construct. That is also why Trevor is called Trevor. Because cats don't care, why should you? Oh, there's also this really interesting thing about how like, this is such a tangent, but like how people sort of categorize like dogs and cats, and like cats are feminine and dogs are like masculine, and how like a lot of you, like if you get loads of like bro, really hyper masculine men, they don't like cats because like it's like feminine energy, and that like cats aren't, basically cats aren't submissive in the way that like dogs are, and like cats take your attention and whatever very much on their own terms. So this whole thing's been written about this, and it's really fascinating, so I'll link some stuff for you if you find it interesting. Like that in itself is really interesting to think about. And then also in terms of like my sort of thinking about it, it's been funny seeing like there are some people that like I will act really straight towards, and some people though I'll like act really gay towards, in terms of like expression and action, not necessarily in terms of like attraction or anything, nothing sexual to do with it. But it's just so funny seeing the people like really straight around. When you say like you look really straight, like it just means you look very cis, right? So I just think these are like really interesting like discussions, and like I've been having them with myself, with my friends for a long time. And obviously because this can be such a heated, controversial topic, that like, yeah, you don't put this on the internet because people are crazy. I know that you guys aren't, so I think it's really interesting to think about. Yeah, that's I think what I was starting to get at, is that like my relationship with male validation, which turns into my relationship with the male gaze, which turns into my like relationship with my like gender expression and stuff. Yeah, because literally on dates, like if I was going on a date with a woman, I will dress differently even if I go on a date with a man. Like I just do. That's why like the bisexual unholy trinity is almost like you're bi, you're a switch, and you're a stem, because you just can't pick. But also, why should you have to? These things are fluid, and like, I don't know. I think like the non-binary folks know where it's at. Like, yeah, I was so much more like this when I was like 15 and stuff. And I think when I started boarding, I definitely suppressed a whole like side of me, not in like necessarily like a negative way, because I just really wanted my new school to like be accepted and whatever by like dominant culture and whatnot. So I definitely became more straight at school. So I just think it's interesting once I like clocked that, because I really did do that. One of the reasons why I've been looking into Butler, one of the reasons why I'm like, I need to read The Second Sex, just because of how these things all link together. And it's so interesting how so many like prominent like feminist philosophers and theorists are lesbians, because you're like, well, oh fuck, if you don't live your life under this like male gaze, then yeah, you're so much more like free in certain ways to like do whatever you want to do for you. So yeah, I've just been thinking about how much do I actually do because I like it, or is it because I really just want the attention and approval of men? Do I even want men in the first place? That's the that I've been having. It's been wild, kids. Highly recommend a total deconstruction of the self every once in a while. I would like to shout out lockdown, because you can't do these things to an extent if you're not like in a weird vacuum, which is why so many people like have clearly been going through this, when so many things of like your gender expression are taken away from you, and the way that you don't need to necessarily perform your gender roles for anyone, because we are all in lockdown and stuff. Like, it's so interesting seeing people like, yeah, realise that sometimes they do it because they've been conditioned to do it, rather than they do it because that's actually who they are and what they like. And I guess my ultimate goal with all of this, because we like a practical slant to all of these things, right? For me is just to like find the places and conditions, I guess, in which I'm actually happiest. And I feel like it also happened with a lot with like film school and stuff, because suddenly I was with an entire new set of people who obviously don't know me, so you can, it's a chance to reinvent yourself. But more like, if I started wearing more like masculine clothes, whatever, they're not gonna bat an eyelash because they don't know any better. So yeah, that's been like what I've been thinking about. And it's funny watching those clips back, because I'm like, yeah, I didn't know the wild ride you were in for. That is where we're at. I'm sure I've missed out a million things in my thinking. Let me know in the comments if you feel safe to like anything, if you've been having anything like this, how you feel about it, or you can always hit me up with a DM on Insta. I don't always respond to them, but I definitely do read them. So yeah, that's where we're at with this. I'm just deconstructing this up. There's definitely also like a class element in it, but I haven't really been able to figure that out yet. But I know it's there. Back to me of 2 months ago. Oh my god, I knew I'd forgotten something. If you think about like the idea of like double consciousness, you get this in Sappho, very much in terms of like male like culture is like dominant, right? So like men don't necessarily learn to speak like the minority language. You get this with, I think it's with Du Bois, about like double consciousness, again in terms of like race. So it works in terms of like gender, sex, race, all of that kind of stuff. But like seeing like what male and masculine things as the dominant culture and the most accepted culture, and like the one that you is like default and the one that you should aspire to. As a girl, I was definitely such a tomboy, like I was such a tomboy, but like people often don't bat an eyelash towards that, because then you're female, like ascribing to like the preferred like male dominant culture. But like there's so much backlash that you get when it's like a boy that wants to like wear more feminine things and like engage in more feminine activities. Like that is something like bad. Why? Because we don't value like feminine, like feminine culture, women culture in the same way that we value this like heterosexual male masculine culture. Because that is our default, that is our dominant culture. Think about it. Think about it. If you are a girl and you do more like masculine things, if you're like a car girl or if you're like a gamer girl, whatever, you often, I see this with film too, you often have to like justify almost your membership to this group. You know, if you have a girl wearing like a band t-shirt, they're like, oh, name 3 songs. But women don't do that to men in the same way. Women don't gatekeep like feminine culture in the same way that men gatekeep masculine culture. Think about the way directioners have been treated historically. Like, we don't value, and I've talked about this before, you don't give, especially like teenage girls, because they're like meant to be like the apex of like ooh, abject femininity, that's a good word, abject. You don't give it the same like cultural value, even though we did some shit. God, we had so much power, but like it's not valued in the same way because it's not aligning with the values of the dominant culture again, which is then like this like masculine male thing. But yeah, that's another thing I've been thinking about, and I've definitely missed things again. You can't really start thinking about this or not then be like, I need to deconstruct my entire sense of self. Fuck, dudes, it's such an interesting, like once you like get down this rabbit hole, it's so interesting. And we can all do it because of like, you know, concept of obviously sex, gender, sexuality affect every single one of us. I think that's probably why it's such a heated discussion. But yeah, we don't value like culturally feminine things in the same way that you value culturally masculine things. This is why I think about it. I can put money on that those of you, for example, who are cis women, if you have at any point been like, oh, I want to watch this movie, that any like guys that are around you being like, oh, I don't want to watch a girly film, but then you as a woman will happily watch a war film. So yeah, you just learn as a woman to speak both, where men do not want to learn to speak your language. Interesting. I just been going through everything, I'm like, this is very fascinating. But yeah, I still haven't read The Butler. That's like next on my list and I'm super excited to read it. Oh, I love feminist theory and feminist philosophy, it's so interesting. Okay, yeah, that's why my brain has been at. I'm so sorry if I've spoken a million miles an hour. Okay, now we can get back to the food. That telly's taking its sweet ass time. But I added cinnamon into this, which I didn't do the first time I made it, and it's really strong. I only did half the amount that the recipe said. Now watch me try and take the water out and then fuck it all up. And if you're wondering, it's balanced extremely precariously on a lampshade. I'm just gonna let TikTok validate me for being attractive. That's kind of what I want to do at this point. Yeah, I feel like I can justify it. I don't need to justify it, but also people always want you to justify it. And also, guys, I worked out so much this year. I just want to be hot. I just want people to tell me I'm pretty. Also, I'm not in a relationship, so I need someone to tell me I'm pretty. We love her face. Oh, it's time. Can you get a sentence for you?
Where did you learn how to make this food?
The internet.
Prison. Adam, why do you remind me so much of that robot guy from that programme? I know yours is going to be sluggish.
What, with me not on it?
Thanks.
I'm useless, so apparently I also didn't outro this video. Thank you very, very much for watching. Again, like I said, this was delicious. Less cinnamon next time though, Emma, but that did not vibe as well as we thought it would. No cinnamon whatsoever would actually be preferable. There we have it. Let me know if you guys make this, like, subscribe and all the jazz, and I'll see you guys very, very soon. Bye.